Agenda item number one, special use permit for 55 Street. Is anyone here to speak on their behalf? Good afternoon, I'm Frank Sewell, I represent 55 Tompkins Street LLC. Paul Armidio is here, he's the managing member of the LLC. We're here tonight for a special use permit. Basically, what's going on is Paul would like to put down in the basement so that it's a sorority, so that the occupants will no longer be triples. There'll be no more triples. Most will be in single rooms now, and a few will be in much larger double rooms, but there'll be no more triples. We were, this matter, I came in late into this, but Paul sent the application in to Roy, and it went to county planning. County planning recommended approval, provided that Mr. Armidio received 7 area variances. And we came before the Board of Zoning Appeals last Monday and received all 7 of the area variances. So we are now here for the special use permit application as well as the seeker. Here to answer any questions you may have.
Curious about some egress, case of fire or something from the basement?
Yeah, it'll be, there'll be 2 stairwells, plus each window will be egress.
Those windows are kind of small. Is there enough room to get out?
So they're gonna meet and the work area, which is the basement, be fully sprinkled for New York State code. I just want to point out this has existed as a fraternity / sorority for years. If you'll look at Article 2, 300-22, which is in your file here. Keeping in the spirit of trying to get things back into conformity, this was never given a special use permit because it was pre-existing non-conforming. And because there was work being done, I tried to bring all these, whenever there's work or touches on the property, which expands on, and this is expanding the habitable space of the property, I try to get these properties in conformity as much as I can. If you look at that table right here, fraternity and a sorority in an R4 is required to have a special use permit. It's labeled as an SP. So that's why they're.
Just to say, I did see in other things and just what we're doing over the last year. Appreciate it. Bringing other issues up. Boston. Certain situations.
The other item I'd like to bring up is this is not going to increase the density. There's not going to be more students. This is just making it a little bit more livable, I guess, for the, I should say the sorority sisters, that it will be, there will be more single rooms and no more triples.
Yeah, it's not like you said, it's not increasing the density, but he is expanding. What I mean by expanding is they're expanding the habitable space within the footprint.
Downstairs, yeah.
You can't put a limit on the occupancy per se anyway, can you? I
No,
just, when it comes to parking, I guess would be my only question, right?
so they have more than enough.
Right now, they have more than enough parking. It's not even anticipated that every one of the occupants have cars. They have more, and I think Roy can attest, they have more than enough parking right now.
Okay.
With this, with the.
Yeah, and actually the thing is they were, according to the table in 384, which is some obnoxious number because they're a fraternal or a sororal organization. They're supposed to have like 1.5 parking spaces per person, which would put them up over 150. So they were actually granted, I had to actually get them an area variance for 110 parking spaces because they've got more than enough for the kids that are there now, so.
The only other item too, is I'm remembering from last week, and Roy and Paul know this, is that we have agreed, or Paul has agreed, that within 2 years, we are going to fully pave what is not paved in the parking. And we, the CBA agreed to that. Paul is now, they'll have 2 years from next June to fully pave, and most of it's already paved. But whatever portion isn't, we've agreed to make sure that that's all paved, and that was with the agreement with ZBA.
Yeah, and to bring it in, so the ZBA, that was what the ZBA did, is to bring the parking lot in the conformity with, 384C.
All kind of drainage issues will be addressed when that.
Yeah, they put drywall.
Handle all of that.
Did this have to go to historic commission?
It's all interior.
So the new egress windows aren't new?
They're not new.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just, so they're building like a set of stairs, is it, Paul, or some
Yeah.
sort of? So, yeah, so the windows themselves are big enough. They only gotta be, 15, minimum, the net clear openings. 15 square feet, which really isn't that big. But the height of the sill will be an issue, so they're all gonna be built like a set of steps on the inside.
Any other questions from the board? I noticed there's a secret form in there too. Should we go through that?
Yeah, the seeker has to be completed, and I think the ZBA, once they approve the variances, thought the special use permit should be the board that does the seeker.
All right, we should go through the secret then, stuff. Anybody wants to follow along, it's in there. Right there. This proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or act or regulation, and they've got no. This proposed action require permit approval or finding from any other government agency. Yes has been checked. I assume that was the ZBA or.
Can I just point out one thing? The county said, you can go through this if you want to, the county said it's an unlisted action.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm concerned with what they said is they said here, staff recommends, and they said compliance with seeker requirements. So the applicant has completed part 1, parts 2 and 3 would not be
okay, I see
completed
what
by
you're
the
saying.
city.
Okay,
Yeah, so we had, even though it's on list, we still have to do it.
okay.
So with that, would probably be saying, 'cause I didn't do this, number 2. would be
I don't
yes.
have that in here. That's my fault. If you give me a second, I can grab part 2 and 3 so you can go through it.
Yes would, number 2 would be yes, it would be, we needed the area variances from the city of Portland's Board of Zoning Appeals. We need a, special use permit from the, planning commission of the city of Portland.
Should I keep going and wait till Roy? I mean, all these are checked off, so I mean, we can look through here.
You can go through.
Number 3, total acreage of the site. What's that? The 8.434.
It looks like one
Yeah,
point, yeah,
The exit here is down to 1.8, total acres to be physically disturbed, 0. It's all gonna be internally done, total acreage. Project size making, project site and any contiguous properties owned or controlled by the applicant of the project totals 1.8 acres. Number 4, check all land uses that occur on, are adjoining or near the proposed action within residential area. Number 5, is a proposed action a permitted use under the zoning regulations? Yes has been checked. 5B, consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? Again, yes has been checked. Number 6, is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? Yes has been checked. Number 7, is the site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? No, it's been checked. Number 8A, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? No, it's been checked. 8B, any public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? Yes, has been checked. Number 8C, are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? Yes, has been checked. Number 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? No. It says if the proposed action will exceed the requirements described, okay, so it doesn't exceed requirements, that's what knows been checked, sorry. Item number 10, will the proposed action, connect to an existing public/private supply? No has been checked. Item 11, will the proposed action, connect to existing, wastewater utilities? No has been checked. Number 12,
There'll be no, bathrooms?
I think you're saying no. I think in what Troy is saying, I didn't do this. I think what he's saying is, no, it's not changing anything in the building. The water is obviously city water, but it could still be using city water. There's still gonna be city sewer because the act itself of creating the bedrooms, but not applicable, really isn't changing. It's still gonna be city water now. It's gonna be city water then, city sewer now, city water then.
Yeah.
I think he's got not applicable, but that's what I think he's saying there.
I think we're down to number 12. Yes. Says, does the project site contain, or is it substantially contiguous to a building, agricultural site or district, which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? No, check. 12B is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive or agricultural site on the New York State Historic Preservation Office, SH SHPO, agricultural site inventory? No, it's been checked. Does any portion of the site of proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by federal, state, or local agency? No, has been checked. 13B was the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No, it's been checked. Moving down to the next page, number 14. Identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Check all that apply. Suburban has been checked there. 15, does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No, has been checked. 16, is the project site located on the 100-year floodplain? No, has been checked. 17, will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? No has been checked. The stormwater discharge flow to adjacent properties? No has been checked. 17B, will stormwater discharges be directed to established advanced systems, in parentheses, runoff and storm drains? No has been checked. Down to number 18 now. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids, e.g. retention pond, water lagoon, dam? No has been checked. Number 19, has the site of proposed action or adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No has been checked. And then finally, number 20, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation that is ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? And it has been checked. That's been completed. I guess we have to declare negative declarations.
So what happens, you gotta do, I think Roy's going to get part 2 and 3.
Part 2 and 3.
Because the answer to number 2 is yes.
No, what happens here is, type 1 actions and unlisted actions normally have to go through seeker. It's a type 2 action, normally don't, but this is an unlisted action, so we have to do part 1, and the board has to do parts 2 and 3.
Right. I can't read these. Anybody read those? I can't. That's too small.
So part 2 of the seeker, question 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No, or small impact, or moderate to large impact are the choices for all of these questions. In my mind, that's a no.
Yeah, but
We can discuss.
Yeah, anyway, check.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land? So no. Will the proposed action impair the quality, the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
How much more energy would these new?
I'm assuming they're much more energy efficient. I'm assuming that, I can't answer that question. Assuming they're gonna be more energy.
So he's not touching the exterior envelope of the building,
There's
so
not,
he's not required by code, the energy code.
there's not,
Now, that
You'd have
being
to
said,
change
the
the
new
purpose
lighting or anything is
drawing.
gonna have to be LED.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. He doesn't got, so because he's not touching the exterior envelope, he doesn't gotta give me like a res check or something where if he was touching the exterior envelope, he would have to give me all that stuff. But he does gotta comply with the NEC, which is gonna tell him all new lighting's gotta be LED and things like that.
all right, so little to no impact. Will the proposed action impact existing A, public-private water supplies? B, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
yeah,
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? E.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, or fauna?
Well, it might increase the animals like park.
I don't know if we regulate that.
that's right.
Mine, we can use that line. for a little.
Yeah, which flora and fauna does that? Count? Sure. Right. Will the proposed action result in an increase the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No more jokes on that one? No, I think. Yeah. Mike. So now, seeker part 3, determination of significance. Check this box if you have determined based on information and analysis above, supporting documentation, proposed action may result in one or more potentially large or significant adverse impacts and an environmental impact statement. And an environmental impact statement is required. Or check this box if you have determined based on information and analysis above, and any supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And the name of the lead agency is Planning Commission, City of Portland.
So that, what I'll do with this, the document you guys have done, I will take it back, fill it all on a computer, nice checklist, write everything, and then I'll give the jokes.
Right.
And I give them a copy. So,
We sign everything.
Yeah, this is. Okay,
So, motion to. Ultimate basic.
yeah, and so moved.
Need a second? I'll second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we have to actually go back to the special use permit and either approve or deny that. Any further discussion, special use permit? get a motion to approve special use permit for back street.
Seconded.
All right, Jim, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried.
Thank you very much. Longer signs and things.
The next.
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Please give us a time. Just sign.
I can't. Oh,
We get a lot of those.
Yeah, so we got this version of sheet last. CEA.
you can start with it.
Yeah, using that.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Unless you're like, no.
Okay.
I'll get that permit done.
Mr. Proposal next.
All right, second item was pulled, I believe you said.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the 117, 127, 33.
Okay, so agenda item two, then both will go to agenda item three, site plan review for 117 and 127, 133 Main Street. Seek site plan approval to install a chain link fence, 6 foot high for security purposes. Is anyone here to speak about that?
I'll speak on behalf of Mr. Cook. He was having a lot of issues, him and the pharmacy were having a lot of issues in the back corner with just vagrants and stuff. Walking and using it as a shortcut, hanging out back there. PD was back there quite a bit, so he came to me and said, I need to get this fence up ASAP. I said, obviously you need the site plan in because it's so close to Port Watson, it has to go to the county, but obviously we don't want PD back there, we don't want any problems with the homeowners and stuff, so get that up because we want a secure area. Yeah.
I was curious, trying to figure out where, so I'm guessing it goes behind the diner and then he owns the adjacent property.
He owns the whole,
So it's gonna go like on the east side of the diner, right behind the
yeah,
diner,
so there's
all
there's
the
a,
way through.
yeah, there's a wood fence that's around the house it's on the house on William Street right there. It goes up to that wood fence, Williams. And what he also did really nice is he put which also requires a site plan, obviously, he put what is it called? Can't even do it like. Screen. Around the dumpster, which would have had to come to you guys too, so that dumpster and the grease trap thing was out for the world to see and looked like crap for years, but it's a part of that fence he put around the dumpster there. It looks much better, did a great job on it. And if you notice, he tore down that building too, that caught fire, so
Yeah.
the whole block is looking nice, and he's got plans to build, he hasn't got it yet. Been in discussion with him, which you'll obviously see, he's got plans to build onto the old place there, put in a new restaurant, so that it's gonna be good for the community.
Wait,
That'll involve paving that back lot there, bringing that up to part two, so it's all gonna look nice, all come together.
It's only questioning if CBS had any concerns with it. So I think they need to do that. So,
No, CBS is actually liking it because we had a gentleman set fire to the fence behind the youth bureau. That was camping out between the fence, there's like, I don't know, this big, and he was camping out behind the two fences and had that just, I'm not gonna be, but he started to fire the city fence.
okay.
Not on purpose, just do it as a mistake. So I'm very thankful for not blocking cut through. And it looks fantastic. It's not only a chain link fence, but he's got that, whatever you call it. Weaved in through it, so it's
Oh, yeah,
more,
my all the plastic stuff.
yeah, it looks fantastic.
All right, can we get a motion for agenda item number 3?
I move to.
Give me a second. The discussion. All right, all those in favor of, item number 3 on our agenda, say. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, agenda item number. Yeah, that's what she's.
So it's just, that's the one that's no longer special use permit, it's just like,
Policy. All right.
Can you explain that when we came in? I was trying to.
so what happened with that is I initially had thought we would bring that into conformity by getting him a special use permit, because it's actually. That whole property is really weird, it has a landlocked
In the back.
one unit
Right, so-
in the back, then it has. 15 has. Two, so it's a landlocked property, I think is like,
15A and 15. is what-
so there's like 3 there, there's a landlocked one in the back, there's 15, and then there's 15 and a half, okay? So it's just really weird the way it's set up, so I don't know whether you would consider it one unit, because that one property is landlocked, it's the same owner, 3.
Yeah.
So I initially thought, hey, let's get it special use permit, even though it says, if you look in Article 1, well. Yes. The dwelling restrictions, it says 2 single families, two families are not allowed on the same property, but 2 multiples are. So I had initially thought to myself, well, hey, let's bring this to conformity by getting it special use permit, but then I read more into it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about it. So I talked it over with Trish at the county, and Trish agreed that sometimes thinking outside the box isn't necessarily a good thing. So since it's pre-existing non-conforming, let's leave it that way. And just let it,
It says you want to extend the front porch 3 feet into the front yard,
yeah, it's,
gonna make it, well, it's still gonna be non-conforming. right?
well, he got the property. There is nothing you're gonna do about it. We can just improve upon it, I guess. The best we can do is improve upon the way it looks. He put a new roof on the back, which he changed from a flat roof to a peak, which is technically changing the facade. And then he added the 3 feet. He got all his area variances he needs, and he also, part of that deal with the area variances was the same thing as our medios, that entire lot. I mean, there is a portion of that lot right now that is paved, but that entire lot has to be paved, and it's gotta be lined, coming conforming with 384C in 2 years, just like we've been doing that pretty consistently, trying to get things in the. I mean, unless you guys, I mean, that's up to you, you know, you guys can liberate this too if you want to. If you think we could push through a special use permit for it, it's just that chapter, dwelling restrictions is pretty clear. It says is prohibited. And then the only thing it says by special use permit is multiple, so I didn't wanna, you know, because it says is prohibited. I didn't want to. I mean, prohibited in terms of code is pretty strong word.
There's also a certain amount of green space needed in the front. Yeah. for Extension.
25 foot is the max. They were already into that already, and and they were given an area variance for the front yard setback. And for their lot coverage, because they,
Have you seen drawings for what the porch is? I mean,
I-
see the ramp. I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be a low pitch.
so they're just bringing it out. I mean, there's already a porch there.
Right.
They just brought it out.
I just wonder how that works with the windows and the layout of the house, but not that it's real concerning to me.
They just extended the existing porch by.
This portion of the-
Right.
It's like it's a low pitch. It's just the right low space because it's got. You deal with all the structural component of that, like footers and for the.
Yeah, no, it would be, well, this is another one of those ones, it's student housing. And typically we don't. We typically we don't put the cart before the horse on these things, but I try to work with these people because they've got so much work to do in such a short time. So. I basically. I told them at first, you know, I don't see an issue with the area variance, because it was a 3 feet extension. The only reason why I needed the variance was because of that 3 foot extension. The roof didn't require it because he wasn't expanding the footprint of the building. And usually, I mean, again, this is just a case of me trying to bring things into conformity that aren't, that are so far out of conformity, it's freaking nuts.
And I was just saying earlier, I appreciate you doing that. I'll show you that.
So it's extending parking into the front here. Am I reading that right?
No, these, the parking,
Oh, it's a different.
that was
Maybe that was 21.
21, and that's up to, because that area variance was just way too out of hand, and they said, no.
Alright.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too. I was looking, yeah.
Alright, any further discussion or any questions on questions for what? Alright, can I get a motion to? I guess. It's happening when it's provided. It's weird.
Well, what, for the paving? It's already, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's already done probably, because again, these guys get in there and get work done with the contractors, and it's no fault, it's the reality. It's student houses, when they get into a house, they have to get in and get it fixed and get out of there. So
That's good.
I know it, we haven't done a final inspection on it yet, but we did do the rough framing on it the other day. So, but just, I don't know, I don't know. They just, so we have a form now, just so you know, before this, we didn't have a form. This is one of the reasons why I decided to get a form that says, because I was concerned about this. If you choose to do the work prior, I mean, we're allowing him to do it because, as you guys know, it's impossible to get contractors sometimes. And a lot of times you have a time frame, you gotta get work on it, especially with these student houses. So I didn't like the fact that people were like, I'm just gonna start working. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, you know, if they want you to make changes or whatever, so I have a form that strictly says the city of Cortland and its boards are not liable for any changes that they ask you to make if you choose to start work.
Start showing this.
So this was the last straw, to be honest with you. So, I mean, he was told, just like everybody else was prior to the form, that they could shoot you down, and then you got to pull it out, you know? Well, and most of them aren't arrogant, it's just that they're in that time frame crunch. It's not them being assholes, really, it's not. And actually, I've been in this job for 14 years, and in the 14 years, I've seen Mr. Delvecchio just come leaps and bounds, man. He was very, when I started, I dare I say, he was very difficult to work with, and now he's much more pleasant, and I can work with him. It's the truth, I'm not saying bad about it.
Any other questions for? I just want to make a motion to approve the site plan review now, not the special use permit. Site plan review for 15 Owego Street. Tony motions, second. Seconded. Jeff, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the site plan review for 15 Owego Street, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Right,
I send the minutes to you guys. I sit here, pass them out, or you get 2 sets next time. I had so much trouble getting a large file to go through, and
why don't you just send them next time? We'll just, I don't wish there's any, you know.
There's no pressing issues,
Yeah.
right?
I'll review them and if any questions. All right, agenda item 5, you said that's off too, or no?
yeah, we don't.
Okay. All right, so we do have an old business item on there, it says time extension for previously approved site plan work.
That's, no, we don't have any of this one.
No? Oh, okay, all right.
So Roy, I mean, like, these people like Becky are considering doing this, you know. Want to somehow get the word out, that they gotta come here before they go hire a contractor. You know,
Yeah, no, I agree.
you know what I mean? And I really, I get, I appreciate that you're pretty informed, but
I mean, need this
if they're thinking about it, come and talk to us.
It is right, Brendan, but I don't think it's obscure as to say that this is all new, because the way we've done it before, it's just 3 feet, it's not a significant change.
Okay,
You don't have to go. My way of thinking is, how are we ever going to get any of these properties into being conforming if I don't make these calls on any change?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm doing. So yes, I don't consider 3 feet a significant change, where the old way would be, it's not significant, you ain't gonna worry about it. But now I'm like, you know, I can get these area variances done, I can get all this done. So that's, and a lot of times these people aren't coming to get their permits until after they've hired the contractors. Yeah, and it's not so much with a big job, you know? But I'm gonna put my foot. The hospital doing it. The hospital is gonna ask for, well, $6 million job that we haven't seen the building permit for yet, but we're going through there, and they're doing it in phases. The first phase is interior. And you guys are gonna get it. They're doing some stuff with the outside of the ER. Very limited exterior stuff, but still they're doing exterior stuff. And I'm gonna issue that permit before you guys get it, because it's a phased thing. And this phase isn't happening until like phase 2. So they won't actually start the work, just mission.
Right, start, yeah.
and again, I just want to clarify, do appreciate, speak for everybody, that you're trying to get all of these things up. But, you know, when something's coming in,
Oh, yeah, so I
bring up
do,
all the other issues.
yeah, I mean, I do look at the big picture, right? If it's something that's significant, that's absolutely not, you're not starting to work, but if it's something. I don't want to get in your heads, but I've worked with you guys now for pretty much know it's gonna, whether or not you guys are gonna. I mean, the county gives me crap when shit goes to you guys before it goes to them.
Yeah.
I just,
I'll see.
I'm also thinking about the end user. And as public servants, we have to be as, you know, yes, we have to be as user-friendly as possible. And if they've already have a contractor schedule, contractors being as they are, it's very difficult to have them change that schedule. So I try to work. Or in the case of like Cook, he had an issue with
Yeah.
the security back there.
Yeah.
I felt it was more of a need to take care of that problem than it was to wait a month to go to site plan and get it back to county. So if you guys, if you guys aren't okay with that, I'm perfectly fine with,
Fine, I appreciate it, like you said. I think, I don't know if I'm speaking, for
Yeah, no,
everyone. I appreciate, you know, you trying to, what you're doing.
no, it's gonna all change.
Now, technically, that's the end of our regular meeting, so we should probably, pass, but I think we have to adjourn the meeting and then. We should probably make a note that the minutes will be. Meeting with the.
So,
No. One, not,
yeah,
And I don't think I said anything wrong about Mr. Novak. He's been fantastic. I mean, I've never had a personal issue with him, but other people have.
Now, we're just saying we should adjourn our regular meeting that's now. I just want to include something in the minute, or something in the minutes, the minutes from last month will be sent to Mark. For time to be spent. We have a motion to adjourn our regular meeting here. I'll make that motion by Jim. Can I get a second? Second. Second, all right. All those in favor of adjourning? Yeah, all right. Anybody opposed? Regular meeting's over. Now we're gonna do it from our group.
Yep.